Hello, everybody. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me, giving me just a little bit of your time. You know that I appreciate you. We've got a few things to get into here. The U.S. women's national soccer team, they're demanding something, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Also, we're getting into golf season, so we'll talk about that a little bit. My dude Ricky Fowler. And we'll talk about just the unusualness of golf and rooting for golf and watching golf. It's an unusual, it's its own thing, right? It because of the way that it's played out. Golf and NASCAR too, they're very similar in how that works. So we'll get into all of that in just a little bit. But before I do that, can I talk to you about our platforms? Where can you find us? Where can we find you? You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you simply search Hot News Talk Radio, we love to hear from you. We're the first thing that comes up, and we reply, have a conversation, interaction. That's how this works. Radio is not a one-way medium anymore, thanks to social media. So you can find us in all of those places. If you'd like to listen to us or watch us, YouTube is a great place to go. You can listen to us live and all of our classic episodes. We never, ever, ever call them old. And on hotnewstalkradio.com, this show, Clutch with Keon Rose, every day from 6 to 7, and all of the other great programs here on Hot News Talk Radio. Also, the TuneIn Radio app, which you can find in your favorite app store. Make sure to check it out. It's free. Give us a favorite. Press play. You'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. And for the best in local weather, make sure to check out the Bloom Sky app, also in your favorite app store. Doesn't matter which mobile device you have. There are no excuses. There's no excuses. So there was some news from the other day, college football news, because, and I don't know if this is good news. I suppose it is good news in a way, but it's also depressing news in another way. It's like it's a win, sort of. Okay, and it's SEC football arrests. They're down. Okay, this is not an April Fool's joke. SEC football arrests are at a record low pace. So SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey must be happy. But for the first time since 2011, when ArrestNation.com began tracking the arrests of pro and college coaches and athletes, the number of SEC football arrests is in the single digits through the first 3 months of a calendar year. This has never happened since ArrestNation.com began recording this statistic. If the 14 SEC schools can keep their players busy through Thursday, which is the end of the month, the league will have just 7 football arrests through January, February, and March. And I don't know if this is just progress, like our arrests are going to stay low, or if I should just be sad that our arrests are so high and happening so frequently that we are celebrating not being arrested. We're celebrating not being in trouble. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed. It's like the Chris Rock comedy routine where he says, you know, people want credit for things that they're just supposed to do. What do you want, a cookie? You're not supposed to be arrested. So I don't know if this is something that we celebrate or not. I say we celebrate it, but you can't celebrate it for too long. Most certainly. If you celebrate it for too long, then you've got yourself trouble. And by the way, tomorrow is April Fool's Day. So all of those people who celebrate that great day. I'm not a celebrator of the April Fools. So I'm going to have to be on high alert. I keep my head on a swivel, keep my ears to the ground, and I make sure that nobody sneaks up on me. Nobody comes after me. Because April Fool's Day is no joke. People who play April Fool's pranks, they're not joking. Okay? They're not joking. I don't like it. I don't like pranks. But this is not an April Fool's prank. SEC arrests at a record low. 7 arrests through the first 3 months. So hopefully we keep this up Okay, because I don't want to see. I root for the best in everybody. I root for the best in everybody. And if you want to see what a person battling allergies looks like, because you can hear what that sounds like, it's not great. If you want to see what a person battling allergies looks like, make sure to check out Hot News Talk Radio on YouTube.com. Because it's unfortunate what's happening there. But again, to bring it up, everything in moderation was what Les Miles said to someone pointing out, okay, the 9 Vols arrested is an ArrestNation.com SEC record for the most football players arrested in one day and for the most in 1 month. The SEC has had these kinds of problems. I'm not going to lie. Okay, part of this too is Urban Meyer was the head coach at the University of Florida. He's now at Ohio State, and Urban Meyer let a lot of stuff go. If you could play football, Urban Meyer would let a lot of things slide. And so how much of the SEC arrests going down is Urban Meyer is just not here anymore? I mean, he like the Ohio State, you've got JT Barrett and his DUI while he was at Florida. Aaron Hernandez was there, and Aaron Hernandez got caught up in a bunch of stuff. Then, of course, obviously, the reason why he's in jail now is because the young man, Odin Lloyd, who he allegedly killed as a New England Patriot. And the more that police dug into the history of Aaron Hernandez, what they found was, yeah, this guy may have been killing for a while. Maybe not serial killing, but it's certainly like he's getting caught up in drug stuff, and he's not even subtle. That's terrifying. So now, Florida is Jim McElwain is the head coach of Florida. I don't think that they're getting in trouble at nearly the same rate as they were when Urban Meyer was here. How much of that is Urban Meyer? And how much of that now can be lowered by Tennessee? Tennessee has got a number of issues, right? You have the whole sexual assault, rape culture case basically being against Tennessee. In this case are cited several incidents that happened on the campus of the University of Tennessee, including an incident with one Peyton Manning that we know all about at this point. And you just have to go and wonder, like, does Tennessee really need a culture change? And I think that they do partially, but I don't think that you need to go in and clean house. I don't think you need to get rid of Butch Jones. And again, Peyton Manning's case, and it's a fair point that gets brought up fairly often, is that the number of cultures that have changed since Peyton Manning was doing anything is a lot. Right? Like the number of times the culture has changed since Peyton's done anything is a very high number. You're at Butch Jones now. You've gone through Fulmer. You've gone through his name escapes me at the moment, Lane Kiffin. You've gone through a number of coaches, and you've gone through a number of athletic directors. So, I mean, it's not something that you need to do, go in and clean house. It may be a campus-wide deal, but something is happening when you've got 9 players arrested in a day. 9 players arrested in a day. That's a very high number of people to be arrested for one school, much less the entire conference. So you've got that happening. And then in soccer news, and I don't talk a ton of soccer because honestly, unless it deals with Team USA, nobody actually cares, right? Like that's just how this goes. And you're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. But there's an interesting thing happening there that I really wanted to talk about, because the U.S. women's national team, they want to be paid more money. Okay. And when you think about the opportunities for women to play soccer professionally at a level and to make money at that level, We don't really pay attention to women playing sports unless they're representing America. And it doesn't matter which sport, right? If it's track, if it's gymnastics, if it's swimming, we don't really care until it's representing America. And then we care entirely. We don't really care about women playing sports when the women's national soccer team is more successful in their arena and more dominant than the men are. And part of that is not anybody's fault. Like, the women are really good and the rest of the world aren't, right? Like, just the opportunities to grow up playing sports are not as easily afforded in nations like Turkey and Ghana. So the U.S. women's national team ends up being much better than a lot of those other teams. The Canadian team is really good. The Japanese team is really good because those are places where there's opportunities to play sports if you're a woman. If you're from Sudan, unfortunately, there isn't. There just isn't. And so when it comes to the women wanting more money, when I look at how they perform, beating the teams in front of them, playing the games in front of them, I'd rather watch them than the men. You got the guys out here losing to Guatemala. Our under-23 team is a mess. The prospects of the future there, not great. I'm not just a tad worried. I'm very worried that U.S. men's soccer, if they don't do anything while these guys are playing right now, they're probably not going to go anywhere. They're probably done because the next generation of men's soccer players doesn't look great. And women's sports, when it's representing America, then we care. And the U.S. women's national team is the better of the two teams facing the competition that they've got to face. Okay? It's not the women's fault that they're just better than Sudan. And they do, when they do run into the other powerhouses in the world, they do run into the Japans and the Canadas, they beat them. So I look at that and I say, yeah, they should be paid more. They're better. They're better. We're going back to the same thing with the tennis that Novak Djokovic. Someone asked him if the women's game, the women's side of tennis, brought in more money than the men's side, should the women be paid more? Yeah. I'm not going to say that women's soccer is bringing in more money, but it's got more attention on it. And do you know why? They win. They're better players. Okay, you're looking at it, Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe, and I don't know how long we've got of Abby Wambach. Like, every time I see her, she just looks older. I don't know how much longer we have of her, but you know, she was doing her thing when the team needed her. She was the veteran that got the goals, that got the points that the team needed to go out there and win the gold medal, go out there and win the World Cup. And they're better. And if they're better, shouldn't they be paid more? Like, a lot more. Sure, I think, of course, they could. I mean, this is just an easy answer. That's just a no-brainer. It's rhetorical. Because I'm looking at the men play soccer, and it's a struggle. Like, all of the things that I don't like about soccer, watching the U.S. men's national team proves to me. Like, those are all the things that I don't like about soccer. And I grew up watching soccer. Like, my dad is from the Caribbean. Soccer's huge. I grew up watching soccer, and I love the game, and I love the sport. But there are things to not like about it, and the way that the U.S. men's team has to play to win games, boy, it's a struggle. It's painful to watch. So why should they be paid more than the women? Because they're awful. It's just a ridiculous thing, and I have no problem with paying women more if they're better, and in this case, they are, and it's not actually close. Like, not by a large margin. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today, giving me just a little bit of your time. We were talking earlier about how the SEC football has set arrests, a record low arrest pace, according to arrestnation.com. And we were talking yesterday about who is the real you, wide receiver you, quarterback you, running back you. Which university produces the most great running backs? And you could throw Georgia into that mix. The best wide receivers. You could throw Tennessee into that mix. But in terms of players being arrested, arrest you? Nope. You don't want to be on that list. And number one on that list right now, until something changes, and something has to, is Tennessee. And I'm looking at Butch Jones, who is a great recruiter, who is a good coach for 3.5 quarters of a football game. And I wonder why it is that his players don't get held accountable for their actions off the field. And it's because winning is important. It's important, and quite frankly, it is disturbingly more important than morality. It's more important than doing the right thing, that you've got coaches that do have that focus on doing the right thing. Like you could be a big time coach and have a focus on doing the right thing once your job's a little secure. You could have that focus if you're Nick Saban, if your job's already secure. You're not going to get fired if you're Nick Saban and you've got a bad season next season, or even 2 bad seasons in a row. Because when you've got 4 championships in 7 years, that'll do it. That'll give you a little bit of time there. But if you're Butch Jones and you're not great right now at Tennessee, you've had some subpar seasons. Last season you were below expectations. You had an opportunity to beat Alabama and you didn't. You might take some moral risks that maybe you're not supposed to. Right? You will allow guys on your team to basically get away with rape, and then somebody else on the team tries to help the victim. You shut him down. You tell that guy he betrayed the team. That's wrong, first and foremost. But secondly, it sets up this culture where if you're the good athlete, okay, if you're Corey Majit, who is one of the players involved, you can be an enforcer on that team that says snitching is the issue here. Not necessarily the rape. That's not the problem, apparently. And you're Butch Jones, and you're not policing it because you clearly were not on the side of the player that helped the victim. That you do create this culture of it's okay to disparage women or just disparage those weaker than you, which is ridiculous in the world of college sports because those with power are the ones getting paid in college sports, and those without power are not getting paid to turn around and step on somebody smaller than you with less power than you shows a very great lack of empathy on the part of the players. And then as you go up the food chain, it just gets worse because now, okay, you're not showing empathy and you're getting paid to be in charge of all of these young men and make sure that they make the right decision and make sure that they do all the things that they're supposed to be doing. And every locker room's got its own culture. And you look at the University of Missouri, for instance, and how that team is willing to stand up for what it believes in and just generally do the right thing. It's interesting because that team is morally sound, and we give them almost no credit because they're not a good football team. I mean, they're pretty bad. Morally fantastic. On the field, not only not fantastic, bad. And at what point do we start to recognize those who may not be great athletes, but are great people? And there are certainly awards for that. You know, you look at the NFL, the Walter Payton Award is for somebody who is doing off the field all of the extra things that a person does to be a great humanitarian and all of those things. But can we do more to recognize the people who are being great and doing the right thing? Not just the stuff that they're supposed to do, but going above and beyond and doing more than what's asked of them. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. And we'll be back with more college football talk next.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. You need a place for your party or maybe a wedding reception for 100 or even more. Maybe you'd like to host a small trade show for your business, and you need a very affordable venue. Are you looking for a place for your birthday gala or services to start up a church? Look no further than the Hidden Gem in Hickson. It's an overlooked, newly appointed reception hall right here in Hickson, Tennessee. Big space, small price. That's right, big space, small price. Call Mr. Chu and ask for a tour. 316-7388. That's 423-316-7388. He'll tell you a lot more about the venue. Rent this venue today. Just call 423-316-7388 and ask for Mr. Chu.
Do you feel better outside your home or business than in? Indoor air quality is important. Mildew, mold, smoke, water, and rodent damage are prime causes of poor indoor air quality. Ducts Indoor Air Professionals, better known as Duct Busters, cleans HVAC systems using 127 definable Duct Busters steps. Let Mark Thompson address the indoor air quality at your business to help reduce employee illnesses. Prevent fires by cleaning your dryer vents. Mark and his parents, Dick and Joan Thompson, have been building our local economy and helping local people with HVAC systems 16 years. Ducts Indoor Air Professionals. Call 876-9907. 876-9907. Ducks. Call now.
We're going to kill them all. We're going to kill them all. Let them cough. Let them wheeze. Let them sneeze. We're going to kill every one of them.
We're going to stop you dead in your tracks. Black mold has been known to mimic ailments such as asthma, emphysema, and other ailments that affect the well-being of your body. Black mold is the silent killer. Fight back today with a free estimate from PuroClean. The paramedics of property damage is PuroClean. Call 875-6136 for your free inspection and estimate today. And no, bleach does not kill mold. In fact, bleach is primarily made up of water and adds more moisture to your mold. The mold experts at PuroClean use proven products and state-of-the-art science equipment. They'll remove all traces of that deadly killer black mold. Call PuroClean now at 875-6136. Plus, your homeowner's insurance may cover it. Call PuroClean today at 875-6136.
We're going to kill every one of them.
Not if PuroClean has anything to do with it. Call PuroClean today at 875-6136.
A few widely scattered showers and storms will move through the nighttime, diminishing late, lows near 60. For Friday, some leftover clouds, but drier, still warm out there. Highs lower to middle 70s. For the weekend, more sunshine returning, but much cooler with highs through Sunday staying into the lower 60s. Try Little Caesar's large, hot and ready bacon wrap crust deep dish, wrapped in over 3.5 feet of crispy bacon and hot and ready every day between 4 and 8 p.m. only at Little Caesar's. And I'm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patch report.
On AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. The Tennessee Senate has killed a legislative proposal which would allow communities to hold elections in order to reverse annexations by cities. This would allow smaller communities to essentially become not a part of a city anymore. The mayors of Memphis, Knoxville, and Chattanooga urge lawmakers not to adopt the bill, arguing that de-annexation could end up with shrinking for the size of their cities. I-75 in Cartersville has been shut down this morning after a body was discovered on the side of the road. The female body has not been identified. It's not known what the circumstances were surrounding how it arrived on the side of the interstate or what the cause of death is. The CPD has arrested several teenagers following an incident that involved a gun and a fight at the Pinstrikes in Chattanooga. The gun seen in the video has not been located. Police believe it's been passed around to hide it. They're looking for a handful of teens who might know where it is located. They've also stepped up patrols around Pinstrikes for security reasons. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
Hot News Talk 1240.
And we're back. But okay, so first off, I have to talk to you about my gigantic allergy battle, which is that the pollen is winning this fight. And if I sound terrible and I sound backed up and stuffy, well, that's because I am terrible and I am backed up and stuff. Like it's what it sounds like. Okay, I'm just hang in there with me. It has not been a great run. I sounded better yesterday. I'll sound better tomorrow, but today's the fight. So a few things are happening in the world of the basketball news, right? Because you've got the San Antonio Spurs and the Golden State Warriors. They're the two best teams in the league. The NBA Finals is basically going to be which of those two teams can come out of the Western Conference. They're both fantastic. They're both amazing. They're both brilliant. They're both incredible teams, and they've got a couple of records on the line. The Spurs could go the entire season 41-0 without losing a home game, without losing a single game at home. And so can the Warriors. And the Warriors could win 73 games in a season out of 82 games. Never happened before. 72 games is the record of Michael Jordan's 96 Chicago Bulls. This is a great season if you're a fan of those teams. I can't even imagine what that looks like. You go to a home game to watch your favorite team play, and they never lose. Man, that is incredible to me. But here's the thing: on the schedule is Golden State for San Antonio. Golden State Warriors play them in San Antonio. The Clippers will play them in San Antonio. So these are two of the toughest teams that they're going to go up against. And Tony Parker, the Spurs point guard, he has his own radio show in France that he does once a week. And he was saying on his show he doesn't think that Greg Popovich is going to play any of the Spurs starters. He's going to probably do what he usually does, which is rest them. And, going for that record at home would mean a lot, but it would mean a lot to the fans. Going for that record at home might mean a lot morale-wise against the Warriors. What it doesn't do is help you win in the playoffs. Rest your guys, okay? I understand the opinion of those who say there's 82 games on the schedule. If you've got 82 games on the schedule, play all 82 games. They're purists. They don't like this rest guys movement. Don't rest your guys. Play all 82 games. But if Kawhi Leonard rolls an ankle playing in a game that he didn't need to be playing in because you locked up the number 2 spot in the playoffs, if you ruin a possible playoff run because you decided to play in the regular season, how crazy is that? That's insanity. Here's the thing. Greg Popovich does not get paid to win games in the regular season. That you win games in the regular season to get a good spot in the playoffs, which, by the way, they're second in the Western Conference, behind the Golden State Warriors, who have been phenomenal and fantastic and nothing short of amazing. They're pretty much locked into 2. They're not going to overtake the Warriors and take 1. If you know this already, rest your guys. You get paid to win championships. You get paid for what you do in the postseason. If you endanger any player, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, they get injured in a regular season game against the Golden State Warriors because you were going for a record, you're insane if you allow that to happen. This is why Greg Popovich is one of the best coaches in the league. He's not going to fall for, hey, let's go for the record. Why? Going for the record is a nice consolation prize, but no one's going to remember that you were 41-0 in the season if somehow you don't win a championship. Trust me, we will all remember the day that you should have won a championship and did not. Especially as good as this Spurs team is, and especially as good as Kawhi Leonard is turning out to be this season. Kawhi Leonard gets injured in that regular season game, Greg Popovich will never hear the end of it. Okay? He's been criticized a ton for things that he's done, but he's always been criticized for stuff in the playoffs. With an opportunity to win a championship, he pulls Tim Duncan out. They don't get the rebound. The Heat win Game 6 and then win Game 7, and the Spurs don't win a title that year, 2014, or 2013 rather. The fact that he got criticized for that is okay. That's a postseason move. Make whatever risks and decisions you've got to make there, but if you can make the safer, smarter decision, then by all means. I just don't understand that these people that are just like, play every game on the schedule. No. And this is true for every sport, by the way, not just basketball, football, baseball. If you've got an opportunity to rest your guys, get your guys out of harm's way, don't put them in danger, extend your chances of winning a championship because that's what you play for, that's what you get paid to do, do it. Protect the guys. Just play every game on the schedule stuff is the stuff of purists. Purists, by the way, who haven't played the game. Because I think anybody that's played the game would take the rest. Okay, and this is how the Spurs have managed to extend the careers of Tim Duncan and a lot of their other players like that. Tim Duncan doesn't look like he's aged at all. If you look at him and how he plays, his stats are the same. They've been the same for the last 15 years. Tim Duncan's only been in the league, he's the same age as Kobe. Kobe looks like he's fallen apart. Tim's hanging in there. Why? Well, because he gets rest. When the Spurs have an opportunity to rest their guys, they rest their guys. That's thinking ahead. That's thinking long term. Okay? I mean, there's short-sighted investments that people are able to make. If you look at financial, the way that finances work, look at the housing bubble when that burst. What was that? That was a bunch of people making a bunch of short-term decisions. Just people going for the record and not thinking about the championship. And the entire economy suffered. Okay, you've got to think in terms of the long term. And going, okay, the regular season has got 82 games on its schedule. Let's just play all the games as hard as we possibly can and not rest our guys. Like, I understand that when fans show up to the stadium and they pay to see Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, and when all those guys are resting, it's disappointing. But it's okay, because if they win a championship, they'll forget about it. Okay, those bragging rights of the title tends to trump everything else. So you'll be okay, Spurs fans and Warriors fans. You'll be all right. If you go and you watch your team play and they lost only one game at home out of 41 possible games, but they win a championship because they got that rest, you'll be fine. It's going to work. Don't worry about it. This is AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today, giving me just a little bit of your time. Have you ever wanted to get your message out to the world? Hot News Talk Radio. Make sure that you advertise with us. You can email us at am1240 keonrose@gmail.com. You can email me personally, keonrose@gmail.com, or call us at 423-800-8949 during regular business hours, and we can hook you up. Get your voice out there using the power of radio. So we're talking about women's sports a lot, and it's been in the news because not just because of the U.S. women's national team, not just because the men's national team for soccer is just awful, but because the UConn Huskies, they're amazing. They're the most dominant basketball team we've seen since John Wooden and his UCLA teams back in the day, and there's 7 titles in a row. And people are wondering, like, is this bad for women's sports to have that many players go to a team? That team is stacked. It's loaded. But I don't know that it's necessarily great for the sport. Okay, and it sounds opposite to what my argument was before. It's not. My argument is you can't blame the players for going to play there. That's not their fault that the system is basically set up so that if women who play sports want the most recognition, they all have to go to the one good team that everybody's watching. Because if you go to play for Mississippi State, you will be forgotten. You will be playing fantastic basketball on a team that no one is looking at. Or you could come off the bench at UConn. Sure, you're not a starter, even though you could start on any of the teams that UConn's competing against. Play, come off the bench, show what you can do, and get the recognition that you deserve for all the hard work that you've put in. It makes perfect sense to me why a player would do that. Like, the incentive is not driven towards bringing another team to where it's never been. Especially since you're looking at all the quality coaches in college athletics, and they're all long tenured at like the same 5 schools. Okay, and if Pat Summitt didn't have her illness, she'd still be at Tennessee. Okay, so then you have coaches, they stay in one place forever. So you have a thing as well where the top coaches in women's college sports are men. The Final Four of the women's college basketball tournament, the Final 4 teams remaining, all their head coaches are men. And this is a problem because women don't get to break in so easily in men's college basketball, which is crazy because if women are capable of coaching at a high enough level to get a women's college basketball team to a national title, then why would they be capable of coaching the men? Even at a smaller school, it doesn't matter. They're not any female coaches in men's college hoops at any level. Okay, D1, D2, D3. It doesn't matter how far down you go. There are no women coaching men's sports. To the point where we have a woman, if a woman is hired as a quality control coach, which isn't even really an on-the-field coaching position, right? Like, that's her job is to like watch film and then tell the coaches who are more recognized what it is that they can do to be better. That's a big deal. Quality control coach. Special teams, not even offense or defense, which we know that special teams are important in football. But honestly, does anybody really know what's happening there? We know the ball gets kicked off and a guy tries to bring it back and then 11 other dudes try to hit him. Okay? There is a science to it, but us regular fans don't understand it. Her job is to sit there and understand that. That's a big deal, but it would be an even bigger deal if she were like a head coach. If a woman becomes a referee in male sports, that's a big deal. This is a problem because if a man does anything on the women's side of things, there are men referees in women's athletics, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. By the way, that the Final Four coaches are men. It's not any of their faults that they're there doing what they're doing. and especially Gino Auriemma, who is the head coach of UConn, that they're just so good and they've been so dominant for so long. And you've got especially a special talent like Elena Deladon. She's just, I don't know how do you defend her? Like, I have no idea. But she's incredible. It's not his fault that she's incredible and that she's playing for him. But it is the fault of college sports that women don't have those same opportunities to coach wherever they want. They don't. And it's hard to see that because you know that the problem therein is highly systemic. It's not at all conducive to how the game is actually played. Like, a woman's mind, her basketball IQ, as it is often referred to, is just as good as any guy's basketball IQ. And the best example of this is the San Antonio Spurs allowed Becky Hammon to be the head coach of the summer league team that they had. Spurs won the summer league. Becky Hammon's brilliant, by the way. She played in the WNBA for the San Antonio Silver Stars. I got the opportunity to see her once. Becky Hammon's like a genius. And there she is coaching the Spurs to the Summer League Championship. And that was a big deal. Summer League. She's an assistant coach on the Spurs staff. And she is brilliant. Is she going to get that same opportunity? If one day we have a men's college basketball Final Four and we've got 4 women coaching it, that would just make me happy. Because that would mean that we've come a long, long way from where we were and doing what we were doing. Like, that would be the result of actual equality, especially at the coaching level. Like, because there's controversy with women and men and being in the same locker room, and should a woman be in the same, like, in a men's locker room? But if men are coaching women, there are men in women's locker rooms. How is that different? Okay, it's not actually different. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. That's me. Thank you for joining me today. You know, I marvel at Kobe Bryant and his farewell tour. It's funny to me for a number of reasons. Okay, not to disparage Kobe Bryant, whom I am a fan of. I grew up watching Kobe. My childhood involved being on the driveway and pretending to do that ridiculous fadeaway jumper that he always does, but that he makes and that I never make. I don't understand how he does it. Like, it's a flat shot, goes straight to the basket and goes in. I have no idea how he makes that shot, but he does. And he does it like with ridiculous accuracy when the game is on the line. But Kobe Bryant this season has been Peyton Manning bad. And when I say Peyton Manning bad, Peyton Manning last season in Denver bad. He's been terrible. And it makes sense because he's old. This is what a person who has played basketball for 20 years ought to look like. So it's not like we're shocked at what Kobe Bryant is doing. What's happening here, though, is that Kobe looks so old and so bad, it's making it really weird and awkward to celebrate what he's doing. Kobe Bryant was out yesterday with general soreness, and there's a picture of Kobe Bryant with 2 ice packs on his knees, the size of a couple of 4-year-old children. They're huge. His knees look ridiculous. Is he going to be able to walk? And this is not, by the way, football. This is not the NFL, where when guys get injured in the NFL, nobody's shocked that you can't walk later. Okay, you're basically what Shannon Sharp the other day was doing an interview, and I really loved his analogy. Shannon Sharp was doing an interview, the former tight end for the Denver Broncos. Shannon Sharp said, playing football, if you want to know what it's like to play football, I want you to do this. I want you to get a hard hat, go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, get a hard hat, put that on, put on a little bit of padding, and lower your head and run into your garage door 40 times. And then do that every week for 16 weeks. That's what it's like to play football. When guys can't play football anymore, nobody is shocked. That's pretty much how that's supposed to work. When guys can't walk after playing basketball, I am a little bit surprised sometimes. That when guys can't get it together after playing basketball, like they can't walk, like I understand the wear and tear on your legs, but like Kobe's not going to be able to walk in like 10 years because he's taken all the damage that a person could possibly take playing basketball, and basketball's not even as bad as football. It's just not, and you're just looking at it and going, golly, can he take any more? Is it possible for him to take any more damage? I mean, he's already got arthritis in his knees. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's no way this guy's going to be able to walk anymore when he's done playing sports. And we're supposed to be celebrating him, and it's just apparent that, like, we can't. We're supposed to be celebrating it, but it's hard to watch. And it's the same thing for Peyton Manning when we were watching the end of the career. Those of you who grew up watching Peyton Manning at Tennessee and then following him as a Colt, that had to have been hard to watch, that final season. Now, the Super Bowl makes that all nice and happy. Championships fix a whole lot of things. But I'll be completely honest with you. That is rough. Okay, now I've got the results for the first round of the golf tournament, the Shell Open. Or I lied to you. The results were coming in, and then they decided not to come in because never get T-Mobile for your mobile device. Okay, that's my anti-ad. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should make an anti-ad because I like that idea, and it's we can do this. The anti-ad to T-Mobile. T-Mobile, when you have the results of a golf tournament involving many high-profile golfers, you have a take about golf to get to, and your phone decides not to load the results because you have T-Mobile, never get T-Mobile. That's what I'm going with here. So I'm bringing up the results here for you, but I'll talk to you about golf a little bit because golf is interesting. NASCAR is interesting in the same way, in that there are a bunch of players in the sport and they're all competing on one day. It's not quite like tennis or any other team sport. Definitely it's not like those where who do you root for in golf? Because I just bandwagon, okay? And I shamelessly bandwagon. I root for like 10 guys. That's a lot of people to root for in golf because that basically covers all the really good players. I root for a lot of people, okay? I root for Rory McIlroy. I actually don't like him that much, but he wins a lot, so it's hard for me not to root for him. I root for Ricky Fowler. Bubba Watson is just a cool dude. Like, I was rooting for him before he won the Masters, and now I feel vindicated in that. I feel like he's my favorite golfer right now. I root for Bubba Watson. Bubba Watson's odd, but he seems like a cool dude, which is my rationalization, I think, for most of my golf picks. Is, Ricky Fowler, he just wears ridiculous amounts of orange and pink. He seems like a cool dude, and then I root for Ricky Fowler. I root for Ryo Ishikawa because, right? Like, I just root for people. So here are the results of the Shell Houston Open in Humble, Texas. Charlie Hoffman, Dustin Johnson. Charlie Hoffman is 8 under. Dustin Johnson is 7 under. Roberto Castro is 7 under. Scott Brown is also 7 under. And those are your top 2, I guess. There are Dustin Johnson, Roberto Castro, and Scott Brown all tied for second. So there you go. Those are the top results there. But already in that list, Dustin Johnson.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
A few widely scattered showers and storms will move through the nighttime, diminishing late, lows near 60. For Friday, some leftover clouds, but drier, still warm out there. Highs lower to middle 70s. For the weekend, more sunshine returning, but much cooler with highs through Sunday, staying into the lower 60s. Try Little Caesar's large hot and ready bacon wrap crust deep dish wrapped in over 3.5 feet of crispy bacon and hot and ready every day between 4 and 8 p.m. only at Little Caesars. And I'm Gene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
And that's it for today's show. I hope you all enjoyed it. Basically, I was going to say that Dustin Johnson is a person that I have bandwagoned because he looks like he's got a really cool putting style. I don't know. How do you choose people to root for in golf and NASCAR? Let us know on Facebook on Hot News Talk Radio on our Facebook page, or just check us out on hotnewstalkradio.com. Remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch.
Shake, shake, shake it at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The most delicious and unique milkshakes. How about this for delicious and different? Add freshly cooked bacon to any milkshake.
Is that even legal?
You bet your milkshake and booty it is. Chocolate caramel bacon shake. Coffee caramel shake. All hand blended. Shake, shake, shake it. Down at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just about any flavor shake that you can imagine. And they are delicious. Get your shake, shake, shake on at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, located at Hickson at North Point. Gun Barrel at the Walmart Center. Downtown 4th and Broad. And in Cleveland at Keith and Stewart.
Sign up today. You want to take these classes. 50% off. Limited time offer. 50% off of all classes at P5 Preparedness. Space is limited. Sign up today. 50% off of all of their classes at P5 Preparedness.
P5 Preparedness on East Brainerd between Gun Barrel and I-75. Look for the Green Army truck, 423-602-2175. Look for us on Facebook.
In the middle of our street.
Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation.